Hi and welcome to this video in which we're going to talk about the lonely path that we have when we grow up with a narcissistic mother. And it's a lonely path, and also that is not the full story of it though, because we know that relationships is a really, really deep need in all of us humans. And we may feel it more or less depending on what kind of personality we have, experiences we have, and so on. So there are people who are, for instance, like schizoid personalities who don't feel this as much, but that's a survival pattern. That's not the genuine deep need inside. Somewhere there is a need that's being denied of relationship in all of us. But when you have a narcissistic mother, you start on this path that is very lonely. You end up perhaps, especially if you're the scapegoat, but also if you are, I think all of the different roles that are set up in the family are really lonely, because none of the children are being seen. None of them are getting their real emotional needs met. It might just appear that way, that the golden child is getting so much and so on. But there is a reason then why they end up often becoming like a narcissist themselves. This is a survival strategy too against the real deep woundings that they have. So in any case, we end up really, really lonely and really alone with the pain, the not being seen, not having words for it. And that's the situation inside of the family. Of course, there can be situations where there are other people who are more, perhaps an extended family, that can actually be of some kind of help, and that's really important if you have that experience. I know that I had someone who saw me, was a grandfather, and it was just it really did make a huge difference to me growing up, knowing I had that relationship. So it can be a neighbor, but in general we are really, really serious children who perhaps struggle to play so much because we carry something that other kids don't have to carry, and that affects us and our ability to let go and to just be in here now and play and express ourselves and to find ourselves. So you don't really get to connect with, you don't get help in your process of connecting with yourself, to find it, to be it, to explore it, and so on. That's another kind of loneliness that we get. And then if we then move outside to kindergarten, to school, and so on, then to friendships and so on, it's of course we get friends as well, but very often we do attract people who are similar in the same kind of mold, and so that we get a similar kind of experiences, that we get lonely in that as well. And I know that with bullying, this is something that lots of clients find it excruciating to focus on, because the shame is so intense. But lots of people have been bullied, and this is nothing wrong with you. It's actually not your shame, though you're carrying it, because the people who caused you, who bullied you, first your narcissistic mother probably, and then on the outside, they are the ones whose shame you are now carrying. Yeah, so the fact is that we are easy targets for other kids who are struggling with who are not feeling well in themselves either, and then we can be targeted and we can be treated poorly by them as well. So that's also a very we're talking about loneliness and disconnect from relationships. So what do you need here then? What is the sort of antidote to all of this loneliness? Because it can just perpetuate as you get older and have painful relationship experiences that can really make you think that this is what reality is like. At the same time, I can remember that, like looking at I knew there were others who had different experiences, but I just didn't have a clue how to get there. So, but now I can say, because I'm no longer in that situation, thanks God. That's why I'm talking about it, because I would love to be of help to you too. So I know that today I know myself. Today I'm connected to myself. Today I can feel the feelings inside that guide me in relationships where I don't even need much information from the other person, but I can feel inside what's going on, what's my emotional truth, and I go with that. I show up as me in relationships. And when you know yourself, you have that loving, accepting relationship, which I didn't have, but I do have now. When you show up as that in your life, in your relationships, you get people those narcissists and those people who treat you badly start to fall away, and you attract people who are similar to that, people who know themselves, people who care about other people and themselves, people who want real relationships, people who are decent people. Like many of us, we are super empathic, sensitive, kind, warm-hearted and everything. We are there. You know, we could be really good, potentially really good for each other. So, but yeah, so what you do need in order to form more connection and step out of loneliness is to be yourself, connect with yourself, show yourself as yourself so that other people can get to know you, and have normal healthy ways of being and normal assertion and boundaries and all this stuff. That other people have learned that they weren't so lonely, and they learned it, and a lot of this is like what you learn because you have so much of it. Like when you grow up, when you're a child, you just get a lot of practice around boundaries. You get a lot of practice. Of course we don't, because we're so intimidated, so fawning, so used to being taken from. So, but as an adult you can learn these things. Some people, one of the ways of compensating with this loneliness and this really difficult dynamics that we grow up in is to put masks on. Well, I wouldn't say it as in, it's not like I'm putting a mask on, but it's like developing in compensatory ways, like being really successful, like being really funny, being really good at something, and so on. And that is true, that you can be good at these things, and that's wonderful. But if the truth is that you're covering up something inside that is really, really difficult, and you're hiding that, and you're safely staying, like lots of people feel really comfortable having conversations at work, focusing on specific things, but as soon as they get into real relationships, they really, really struggle, because that feels like really unsafe and really anxiety provoking. So that's where the injury shows up. And yeah, I want to say that one of the paths to actually undoing that kind of injury is to be around people who are on a similar journey to you, similarly empathic and similarly sensitive and kind, and being in I'm not talking about, well, of course you can do this by yourself, you can, but it can be hard because of the filters that you have and the way you are, what you're drawing into your world and so on. That's why I come in, as I've been working with people to help them with this. This is not like I'm not going to give you a list of 10 things that do this, because what's the point of that? The point is more like there are environments where you can be in, where you can choose to step into containers where you can actually mature and grow. And we know that this is not like we can give 10 steps to a plant to grow, but we put it in the right conditions and then it starts to develop in a healthy way. So that's what you can do to yourself as well. And that is what I provide. I have a healing journey program. It's over 3 months, and I'm also thinking about how I can extend that so that people can carry on and like being in that container and really profit on it. And it was really, really powerful when I've provided it before, so people really benefited from it. So if you're interested in that, there's a wait list for that program. It starts in September, and without commitment to you, just so that you get the information, sign up on that wait list, and or send me an email about any questions that you may have. I'm really happy to answer them. So the problem is that when you get a lot of bad experience, it's really, you come to expect it. Of course you do, because you're getting the maps of that. This is the way people are. This is how the world is, and this is what I'm like. So I don't have much worth. I'm someone who is just a follower to others, someone who's treated poorly, and so on. We learn all these things, and we come to like bring them into new relationships. So, and in that situation, it's really easy to withdraw. My heart breaks from all the people who write to me that this is what their world is like, that they withdraw and that they are by themselves because they find it too painful to be in relationships, though they really long for it. So if you are in that situation, consider joining. That's how I can help you. That can really help you. So so it's normal to become fearful, distrustful of oneself and others too, to get burned, to experience repeat narcissists or other people who are takers and users and abusers. But on the other hand, this is like the validational side. But there are other sides too to help you grow. So like, and change, and like find new ways of being. So like, because when we have the maps that we do, it's really, that's what we use to like what we can expect of others and to how to navigate. So then you will be careful, holding yourself back, not be visible too much, not show who you are, not speak your opinions, with good reason, because you've been hammered down so much, but and perhaps betrayed and experienced a lot of pain with it. But the thing is that a new person is also a new person, and they are not necessarily fitting with your map. There's a whole world out there of people who fit with your map and people who don't. So you need to be careful about, if you attract people who are bad for you, you tend to do that. You've obviously got a pattern for that. But what you can do is to find other people who are representing something different, to teach you something different about relationship. So we are balancing here then, like, do you choose to stay in the same? Do you choose to make a change here? I do appreciate that this is really difficult, that it is so. But it's also the truth that you do have a choice, you do have decisions, you do have intentions to set, and to, it's like, set where you want to be. And then I want to speak to a deeper layer of this, because we are here in our life, which goes fairly quickly. And why do you think it is that you've come on this life journey like this? Can you see any meaning to this, a deeper meaning. I think that this is my more spiritual take on this, is that I think that we are actually in this, but I think that you need to listen to yourself. Whether I'm saying something, I think that you know your personal truth. But we are put into this situation, and lots of us become then empaths, sensitives, warm-hearted, kind, really decent, respectful people. We know what unfairness is like, and we don't want other people to suffer with pain and unfairness and these things. So these are like really, really, really powerful. They are really powerful qualities that you have. How can you use these for a higher good? How can you bring these gifts out into the world? This is the path that I'm only speaking about, things that I've experienced myself. This is my path coming from all that darkness. The light was just almost not there, but it's been turned on. And when you step into like more knowing yourself and like stepping into yourself, it's much easier for the spiritual connection to also really strengthen, and so that you can actually bring these qualities that you have, these gifts that you have, to share with the world. I'm doing it in my way, but perhaps and before I did it on YouTube, I did in a one-to-one, like being a good mother to my children, being doing the best I could for other people, for myself too, for my husband, for my, this, it doesn't have to be that big or that complicated. Not everybody wants to be on YouTube or similar, but how can you give to people who actually appreciate it, and find these people, and to like and not everybody does appreciate to begin with. Like I worked with people who were children who grew up with child protective services and so on. Of course, it takes a long time before they can begin to even explore that there is a different reality there. That there is maybe kindness there, because the kindness always was a trick to get something from them or something. So like. But I know that I've warmed a lot of hearts up over the years. How can you bring your gifts into the world? And so one of the really important things is like, how do you actually manage to make a change with yourself so that you can come into a different experience, so that you can create a good life for yourself? You need to be in relationships where it's not any relationship, it's relationships where that are growth oriented, that give you what you never got, that correct things deep inside of yourself, that help you really truly find and connect to yourself. Those are the kind of relationships that I intend to provide in my course that starts a program of 3 months, and I am also intending for it to continue so that people can then carry on, because these are long-term processes. So if you're interested in that, then do sign up for it, so that you get the information at least, so that you can possibly join, possibly really benefit. This is something that, when we're talking about loneliness and turning away from relationships to protect ourselves, to not be hurt so badly, I am super sensitive on this. I'm super caretaking of this. I've run this program before, and I've done it so that people who were really struggling with this were able to really profit from this. So I think that is a real opportunity for you. And in any case, I'm gonna go now, and if you found this helpful, please like, please subscribe, and do comment if there's something. I'd love to read your comments. Thank you so much, and bye-bye.